Hey, welcome back to the Snap Fantasy Football Podcast. You got Mac and Lando here back with another live stream. We're doing a little mock draft today. 10-team league, full PPR. Look, Lando, I'm just happy to be back in the saddle with you here. And I think the more that we stream, the better we're going to get at this. Technically,
Welcome back.
with the technical difficulties, with the interacting with the people that are in the stream. So I think it's good, man. I think it's good to get back and at this. And on a Sunday, we usually do Mondays, which we're going to aim to do tomorrow as well. How you doing, pal? Well, how was your weekend?
Yeah, Matt, thanks for asking. My weekend was great. We had a very successful charity golf tournament on Thursday.
Right.
So we normally have around 100 golfers playing. This year we had 60, and we still raised upwards of $40,000 for charity.
Good for you guys.
So that's cardiac fund, helping people with heart conditions and needs heart surgery stay in our local community to get those procedures done, which is pretty awesome. And I'm very proud to be a part of that. Maybe we'll do some stuff for charity in the coming years, Mackie. Here, once we get that following, we'll do some charity stuff because it's all guys. But I also think it's about taking away all these good players from our very loyal listeners here, and in this mock draft Funday Edition.
Hell yeah. So we have 7 out of 10 people filled right now. I see Bobby in the chat here. Bobby Fans, my boy. Chelly Darton's buddy too. I think you should grab a team because he constantly talks that smack, but never walks the walk, but talks the talk. So Bob, jump in here. Oh, there he is. Right before Brad. Gonna ruin some dreams. Yeah, this should be fun. I mean, a 10-team league is so small that your team is going to feel stacked. It's going to feel superstar studded. What do you think about the idea of experimenting with a third-round reversal, Lando?
Oh, I like doing that.
It's typically for bigger leagues, but what the idea is, after the third round, it actually goes in opposite direction. And so it helps to balance out, like, I think at the 101, taking Christian McCaffrey or Saquon Barkley or Zeke is a huge advantage over guys in like your spot, Lando, the 110. So in the reversal, it kind of helps balance out those early pieces because I'm getting the first player off the board, which is a huge advantage, and the 20th and 21st player. So my team's going to be pretty solid after 3 rounds. But doing the third round reversal is something new that people are experimenting with that I've never done. So this is a good little maybe learning experience for you and I. But either way you slice it, I mean, your teams are going to be fantastic in a 10-team league.
Yeah. So the question I was going to ask you is that what do we feel about getting these positional advantages in getting the Kittles, Kelce's, Patrick Mahomes, and the Lamar Jacksons? That's really what at the end, when you look at your team, when you have those difference makers, whether it's taking a quarterback early, like even a Russell or Kyler, you're going to be tempted at doing that because you're going to have depth late. We're normally the bare bones of the guys, the flyers late. Like, I probably won't have to. It's just going to be too many good players are going to be on your team. So I won't have the late round. You're not going to get maybe the Duke Johnson, another guy I really like. You might not get the Jalen Ragers because it's going to be a little bit tough at the end. There's going to be a lot of good players available. So those late round flyers that we all like, you're going to be tempted to take take guys at their ADP, some guys that you're going to be surprised get to you at the 50th.
You're not going to have as much reason to draft rookies later, like the CeeDee Lambs, Jerry Jeudy's, Jalen Ragers. Those guys are going to be, still in consideration, but when you lose 2 picks per round over 10 rounds, that's another 20 players not being drafted in a 16 team. It's another 40 to 60. So it does make a huge difference. I'm drafting out of the 1 spot. You're drafting out of the 10. We're on opposite ends. I see Brad and Bob tried to get as close to me as possible to snipe me or ruin my life. I appreciate that. So this is fun. I mean, I don't play in a 10-team league, so I don't get to experience these drafts, but we do like the odd best ball league where it's a 10-team or an 8-team, and it's just so stacked. But you're right. When you play in best ball drafts, it's good to get those positional advantages at tight end and quarterback. And so it'll be interesting to see where those players fall in this draft. It is a full PPR. Yeah, go ahead. What is the clock set at there? Sorry. Perfect. On me. Perfect. I'm going to go Christian McCaffrey, and we'll just get this thing rolling. No need to deliberate over the first pick. I can't remember what I was going to say to you there. Escapes me.
Hammering down the Saquon Barkley first overall. Are you kind of off? Or
nope. I'm not. The reason why I said I don't buy into Christian McCaffrey being as good as he was last year is because he doesn't need to be as good as he was last year. Yes, I think the Giants will be better, but I think that the Carolina Panthers will be significantly better with the weapons that they've picked up. And so when you look at a better receiving core, a better quarterback, more competent thrower in the pocket, athletic, I think I have some stock in Teddy Bridgewater being able to facilitate the ball to his wide receiving core. And then I think, okay, Joe Brady, Matt Rule, they're going to try to utilize more pieces of the offense as opposed to just, hyper targeting Christian McCaffrey. And that's what happened last year. It was, over 400 touches. It was ridiculous, not sustainable. And I don't think that's going to be the case this year. So that's why I say that. But you're really not losing out of Saquon, Zeke, CMC.
No, you're right. I think this really does put and Saquon.
Yeah, and our, I'd be remiss if we didn't shout out
And
our
then
2019 Listener League
Mr.
champion
Wild
stash,
Stallions
Minshew,
went
Mr.
and I
Braden
think that
from
at
West
that
Virginia.
1-0,
But he's with us, but not with us. I don't see that green dot. So took Dalvin Cook, probably the appropriate pick. But now it's on to you. Only one wide receiver taken in the opening round, and you've paired up Miles Sanders with Devontae Adams.
I have. Let me put that phone
Go
off
ahead,
here,
pal.
Max,
Go
so
ahead.
I can.
So in a league like this where it's not that deep, when you see a run of running backs go like this, it's a really good idea to pair, a running back with an elite wide receiver because value is going off the board very quickly here. And I know everyone wants to establish their teams with solid running backs, but again, because it's such a small league, there's going to be more starting running backs available. And getting an elite wide receiver, you need to take the value. So 4, 5, 6 running backs go off in a row. Don't continue the run. Pivot. Go somewhere else. See what your teams look like. I like that you went Devontae Adams there, Landon. Hey, you're ringing off the hook. We didn't set up a fantasy football hotline, did we? If those of you are tuning into the stream that aren't already subscribed, please consider doing so. It certainly helps out the channel. We are at a cool 194 subscribers and looking for 6 more to get to that 200 milestone. Braden unfortunately timed out again, but it's interesting to see that Joe Mixon got all the way to the 204 there. I would have figured that you would have taken Joe Mixon instead of Miles Sanders.
I do like Joe Mixon. I'm value for him going at the 204 spot, especially in this league. It's weird how Joe Mixon has kind of fallen, and I think it's an interesting opportunity for him to be that locked and loaded starting running back to get the passing work with Cincinnati. And if I were to double stack, if I was going to double tap running back there, would have Joe Mixon. I do like how Taylor took Austin Eckler because it's a full PPR league and he should get a lot of targets. I personally would have probably taken Mixon, but hey, stat, he has a good. Really
agreed. And I knew that Bobby wouldn't pass on Patrick Mahomes. He likes going quarterback. I don't blame him. He's still attractive even in a 10-team league. Lando apparently a little bit choppy on your end video-wise, but could just be an internet issue. I like that Jay Hart went Travis Kelce. Now, if I'm not mistaken, after my pick, it should go to you. I believe. So I've got I would like to go, DeAndre Hopkins, Lamar Jackson, or Aaron Jones, DeAndre Hopkins, or anywhere in between there. I mean, Kittle would be a really nice play as well. But I think I'm going to go running back start with only four wide receivers going off the board. I'm going to take Aaron Jones, and I think, it goes over to you.
Goes to me. So this is the point where I'm going to take advantage of this third-round reversal and go either Kittle or Lamar. So I think I'm just going to go Kittle because I think that's there's still so many more good quarterbacks I like. Although I'm a huge fan of Lamar. I got to wait now a long time
you've got
come back here for me.
A running back 1, a wide receiver 1, and a tight end 1. So you've done yourself a really good thing there in getting elite players at the position. And in a full PPR, Devontae Adams is extremely safe. Miles Sanders is heavily involved in the passing game. And George Kittle, he just got the bag. He just got the money. So 3 solid plays, man. I really like what you did there with your team. But now I think for these guys with 2 running backs, it's probably a good time to scoop some value on wide receivers like DeAndre Hopkins and Kenny G, Mike Evans. Mike Evans is an interesting spot, though. Would you feel comfortable with Mike Evans being your wide receiver 1 this year? Produces nothing after the catch.
Galladay and even Adam Thielen, Odell Beckham are guys I almost prefer over him because we should project more targets. We're having Chris Godwin being that slot high target volume pass catcher in Tampa is a much better pick
and
to me.
And that's typically who Tom Brady has targeted his whole career. It's been the slot guy, right? So that's going to be Chris Godwin.
At the end of the year, if
it's volume for him, right? He's like a lock for 1,300 yards and close to 100 receptions. It's for him. The difference between being a wide receiver 1 and
be the Chris Godwin
first overall wide receiver is just his ability to catch balls in the end zone. And over the last couple seasons, it really has been really low numbers for him, 3, 4, 5 touchdowns. If Julio Jones can find a way to get 10, he'll be the wide receiver 1, without a question. Like number 1 overall. Tough for thoughts here.
Tier. You look down the board and there's still the AJ Browns and DK Metcalfs and Amari Coopers, DJ Moores. There's tons of really good options here. So do you just try to in this format? Do you go with Mark Andrews to get a difference maker tight end? I think you go wide receiver, but I just want to.
Yeah. So I mean, for me, Odell Beckham Jr. I think is I'm probably taking him a little bit early, but I don't think he'll get back to me. And so being a wide receiver 1 in a full PPR, I want volume. And Odell Beckham Jr., even with a sports hernia last year, had a 1,000-yard season. He's going to catch somewhere between 70 and 80 balls, and he's going to be a 1,000-yard receiver. And I project that Browns team to be a little bit better. But yeah, the question to me here now is, do I kind of want to spend here on another running back and go with Jonathan Taylor, who could be a league winner. And as my running back 3, I don't have to have him produce right out of the gate on my team. The only downfall is that this is a 3 wide receiver league, and it would be really nice to go 2 stud wide receivers. So I'm hoping that there's enough value at running back to come back, leaving Mark Andrews on the board and a couple key quarterbacks. So I'm going to go with, I'd love to go Allen Robinson. I will leave him for Chelly, but I'm going to go DJ. I'm going to go DJ Moore. No. Never.
Safe. We're going to do definitely a video on DJ Moore again. I know we did that like 3rd or 4th round draft or pass on him, and he's always the draft for me
100%.
in the 4th round. But I think we should also dive deeper into him and why we like him so much. The contested catch rates, the
success against man and press coverage.
There's so many good reasons to like DJ Moore. And despite, I talked about him in my most recent video coming out probably tomorrow about AJ Brown. Reasons why I like this going off the board right now in this league. So it's the DJ. There's so many good wide receivers: Amari Cooper, Cooper Kupp, AJ Brown, DK Metcalf, and then a full PPR 10-team league.
Yeah, and so if you check out our Instagram or Twitter at @snap_fantasy, we put out a lot of those stat nuggets and stuff on players, and one was DJ Moore that we put out back in early July. 93% contested catch rate. So when he is covered, he tends to succeed at a very high level. And then 45% of his receptions coming from slant and dig routes, run out of the slot, which really creates for him a high PPR floor. And so when we're talking about guys in PPR formats, full point, having consistent volume, no matter, obviously the shorter the depth of the target, the better, because it doesn't matter in this league if it's a catch of 1 yard or 40, it's worth 1 point. So when DJ Moore is catching 9, 10, 11 balls a game, that gives me a very high floor and obviously a lot of safety on a week-to-week basis. So that's why I like DJ Moore and Odell Beckham Jr. Instead of like your big hitters like a Tyreek Hill. In a PPR format, I want the floor.
Yeah. Very inconsistent wide receivers are hard to project. Not good for PPR leagues, obviously. Not good for your fantasy teams. I mean, it's 1 + 1 =. I mean, it's not hard to figure out.
Do you need help on that?
Yeah, here I do need help with this pick.
Okay.
Although math is not my strong suit, this is also a very difficult. So I started off this draft with Miles Sanders, Devontae Adams, George Kittle. Pretty even off the board.
They are. I endorse that. Yeah. Talk you into it? So I think if you go with an AJ Brown, it's really essentially the same thing as a Juju Smith-Schuster. I think they both have tremendous upside, but they are their quarterback play is, I think, can be inconsistent. I mean, Ryan Tannehill hasn't always been a league winner. Big Ben is a league winner if he throws it the whole season. And in the last couple of years, that's been a tough point for him. It would be easy to go Calvin Ridley or Cooper Kupp here for the volume. if you're going upside, I'd go Juju over A.J. Brown. And if not, I would say Cooper Kupp is a fantastic play for high volume, safety, floor, but the boom games aren't going to be as much. So it's tough, man. Like when Big Ben tosses it and they're down, which I project them to be down a lot this year, Big Ben's going to throw for 650, 675 attempts in a season. Bodes well for pass catchers on the Steelers.
Guy that I end up with, if it was just me making that decision without you in my ear, I would probably just click to game.
Right.
Is not crazy for a guy that's the locked and loaded number one in his wide receiving core. But also, that's not to say it's super young still. He has lots of yeah, we know Deontay is a guy people like. Still going to be that go-to for Big Ben. But it's
totally, man. There goes Mark Andrews.
And it was auto-picked. I need to trust that.
I would have liked to see how far he would have fallen there.
Pick him on my team.
Yeah, no, look, Juju's a good pick, no doubt. I think it's hard when you give somebody 110, 120 targets, like let's say A.J. Brown, when they play on the outside, you have to expect that reception number is going to be more like 75 if it's 120 targets, just because of the average depth of target and the corner play is probably stronger. A.J. Brown's going to project to get top tier coverage. Whereas like a Michael Thomas, for example, he's catching 90% of his balls, which is wild, but he's also working from the slot a lot more. And so there's a reason why he's the number one off the board. Volume, catchability, separation, so many things. But it's tough when you talk about an A.J. Brown who's going to be stuck out on the outside versus a Juju who actually has been talked about being moved back in with Deontay. So I don't like that guy. Julio, Robinson, A.J. Brown. Yeah, I mean, it's solid. And I like that mix because Julio, A-Rob, the volume's going to be there. A.J. Brown's your upside piece, and then two solid running backs. And especially Alvin Kamara with what he achieved last year. This is a good spot. So Kareem Hunt's still on the board for me, and I'm probably going to walk away with him here. Now, I don't like Kareem Hunt to be my running back 1 or 2, but as a third, a flex every single week, I think that's a great piece to have. So I'm going to go with a guy who I think could end up being the number 1 overall wide receiver if he keeps popping off.
Yeah.
With a quarterback who is ascending, DJ Chark. 2. No. Now, so the play for me here, if I wanted to maximize opportunity, would be going DeAndre Swift or Mark Ingram. Just Mark Ingram is less volume, but he's going to be on the goal line more because of how well that Ravens team moves the ball. DeAndre Swift, people project to be the lead back in Detroit. But then the problem is, what is the lead back in Detroit really worth? And over the last 10, 20 years, it hasn't meaned a whole lot. So I like Kareem Hunt here because regardless of what Nick Chubb brings to the table, Kareem Hunt's still going to catch the football. And if anything were to happen to Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt is a league winner. So not only does he have standalone value, he has tremendous upside if an opportunity presents itself. So that's why I really like going Kareem Hunt as my running back 3.
You hate to see it.
You really don't.
If you're against, if you're drafting against Kenzie in this league, I mean, that's a nice draft
He was in
pick. I think Terry
consideration. Yep.
McLaurin's also a really good pick here
I
for
don't
Jay Hart.
love Dwayne Haskins as much as I like Gardner Minshew.
That's fair. That's fair to say.
There's no competition.
I think
in
it's a
that
coin flip
receiving
between
core
those
for
two.
either of them. They should be hyper targeted, and they should be down. The Skins, or sorry, not the Skins, the Washington football team, and the Jacksonville Jaguars should be down a majority of their game scripts. So it's gonna lead for more throwing. Good pick by Bob there, going Zach Ertz, grabbing that tight end value in the 6th.
Yeah. Totally. And again, in team league, you want to probably try to get high can if you can. Like, I generally in a 12-team 14 league, I'm taking shots in the dark. I'm taking John.
So here's a crazy thing, and I don't want to influence the draft too much, but there's only been 2 quarterbacks taken, and they were in the opening 2 to 3 rounds. Sorry, I guess because of the 3rd round reversal, top 22 picks, right? So in a 12-team league, that would be the top 2 rounds. Are you surprised to see that no one else has gone quarterback here with elite options like Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott, Deshaun Watson?
The PPR within, there's 2 bots in this league. There's going to be more quarterbacks on the waiver wire to stream, and if you get a guy like Stafford or Aaron plays Baltimore,
Daniel Jones. Oh, yes, he will. Yes, he will. Yes, he will. It's a good pick. Solid pick. Good pick.
And it's unfortunate. I will DeAndre Swift here. And you asked what the starting is worth, and he's worth the 6th round pick every day. If that's the question, but I'll do off for me at wide receiver. So now I'm either running back or I'm looking at that quarterback, Mac. I can look at J.K. Dobbins with the look at a Cam Akers again. I've got 2 running backs that have very safe defenders. So this is, you can still get value.
Tough to fight against that pick right there.
I don't have any stat right now with my Stafford or Cam Newton, and you're going to be fine. So this 10-team league is something I'm not usually doing. I took a George Kittle and I took a Russell Wilson before they became values, right? They weren't really values when I took them. Based on Russell being the number 3 quarterback going off the board, I'm taking the 3rd quarterback at his peak.
But what you're doing is diversifying the talent on your team and trying to find an advantage over everybody else, right?
Yeah. Taylor, I need him in our home leagues, so hopefully he can make more decisions.
Stay true to yourself, Taylor. Don't ever change, eh?
he took. I know he wants Lamar.
Right. Yeah. Well, and if you look at this draft here, where there was 4 rounds between Lamar Jackson and Russell Wilson, that is like the value you just got on Russell Wilson is tremendous, right? And that probably shouldn't have happened, but it did, and it has. You take a second. I'm going to say one thing. For those of you just joining us, welcome. Thank you for being here. Liking the stream is a great way to support the channel, as well as if you want to see more from us, me and Landon, as well as another one of our co-hosts, Scott, click the red subscribe button. We need 6 more for 200, and that's what we need.
I took him as a number.
Mm-hmm.
Take a quarterback that's not normal.
Right.
Having that upside at the position. Are you looking at just getting those positions, another running back, another wide receiver, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so as much as we talk about wide receivers who play out of the slot, who get high volume, are great for a PPR floor, the same thing exists with quarterbacks who rush the football. And it's really hard for me at this position to get away from Kyler Murray. It's really hard. And I think what he brings to the table from an athletic standpoint is phenomenal. That's why he was drafted 1 overall. He's a great athlete, and so that gives me a little bit of a higher floor with his rushing ability. What sucks is he accounted, I think, for half of his total sacks by himself. So self-inflicted mistakes that led to sacks and lost points. So if he can clean that up, that'll be obviously a little bit better for fantasy owners. I'm torn here between going with another solid receiving option like a Stephon Diggs, a Brandon Cooks, an upside play like Will Fuller, or going for running back where it's really drying up. I know, and I feel like he's the best player available on the board, and I kind of have to go that. I felt really forced to take him. But in a situation like that, would you not say that taking the best player available is the best move just because it allows you to have more tradable assets once this draft is over?
And the narrative, Mac, that I'll draw for you, and he's in the 8th round in a draft. Everyone's kind of passing up on him. Week 1.
No, I think they play the Patriots.
Buffalo plays they play the Jets. Say they play the Jets week 1. And he busts off against the Patriots.
Really?
The name there, but pushing him down drafts, so much trade value, more so than a guy going right after him like an Edelman or Gallup, because people won't necessarily believe into that hype as much. But Stephon Diggs going off, he is absolutely a great trade piece because he still has that name value. We had him as a top 12 wide receiver not that long ago, and he was that, and he when he was healthy, he was that for fantasy. get a running back that's going to present you consistent value, where he's going to be a little bit more inconsistent.
Yeah, and I do agree with that. Yeah, so they do play the Jets week one. I don't know why I second guess myself, but I think there's been some. It's really this 10-team league has really shocked me in the fact that these elite level tight ends and quarterbacks are going now 7th, 8th round, and that's maybe something for you to continue. If you have a 10-team league, get in here and mock, because this is going far differently than I thought it would have. And obviously, like we said, your teams are going to be very star-studded just because of how small the owner pool is here. But get in here and mock, because I did not think I'd get Kyler Murray in the back of the 7th. Potentially, I could have taken him, opposite end, the first pick of the 8th. So, wild.
Mm-hmm. Process I have by far, but fantasy output going to be 7 rounds or 5 rounds worse than Russell Wilson or Kyler Murray, even, or Dak Prescott. Like, all these guys are going to throw it.
Tilt. Brandon Cooks.
Tilting a little bit here.
Look, Jarvis Landry is super safe.
About it.
I mean,
go Landry. Jeez, I got Patrick Mahomes as a quarterback. When you really look at it in volume, especially Dak Prescott, I mean, that guy can throw for a ton of yards. He has a range of outcome to throw more than you did. That's debatable. Yeah. I mean, not that debatable, but still pretty debatable.
Pretty debatable.
I get this draft strategy, but it's steep. It's pricey.
Yeah, and who knows? Like, had no one taken Patrick Mahomes in the 2nd round, or had Bob passed on him and waited, would they have fallen even further? What is the true value of Patrick Mahomes in a 10-team league, 8 to 10-team league? It's both. There's both sides of the coin there to take into account, and I don't really know what the answer is. But just seeing you getting Russell Wilson in the 7th, me getting Kyler Murray in the back, maybe the 8th, I don't think there's enough value to take Pat Mahomes or Lamar Jackson in the 2nd or 3rd. I think waiting was the better play. Now, we had talked about this already, not in depth, but it had been mentioned, stacking. You said when you were looking for a quarterback, I don't have anybody that I can stack with right now that makes sense. We do want to talk about stacking quarterbacks and wide receivers, or quarterbacks and pass-catching running backs together to see if it actually does make a difference in terms of your total upside. And in best ball drafts, we know that's the case. But before we dive into the stats earlier this week and find out the true answer, what is your idea of stacking? You think that it potentially helps, right?
I totally think it helps, and I think that it doesn't. The perception kind of limits your upside. Have of players, different teams, and all they want to be all one game versus Detroit versus Minnesota. It's like, well, crap. Like, I need DeAndre Swift and but it presents a ton of that aren't owned with that same guy. So I mean, I guess I'm talking about more tournament style, DraftKings, best ball. But I still do believe in stacking. Maybe you don't want to triple stack in your fantasy league. That's not necessarily having 2 pass catchers isn't necessarily optimal. But I do believe that if it's a tiebreaker, if you're in the 10th round of your draft and you're like, well, do I go Baker Mayfield or do I go not going to catch any touchdowns, then
and I think that there are some teams
a great combination
where you can
with your wide receiver
get away with a tri-stack. Like you get away with a Pat Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. You could get away with a Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers, right? There are some teams where it does work, but then there's other teams where it just doesn't make sense. Like a Gardner Minshew, Leonard Fournette, DJ Chark. That's a nice little one right there. Baker Mayfield. It's a nice one too. Oh, that's super cheap. Darren Waller be your I mean, where do you go in this draft? 7th round?
Baker Mayfield.
So right now, Ruggs is still available, Carr's still available. That's a stack that you can make up right now if the auto pick wants to do so. I've always found stacking to be interesting in just I want to take a look at like had I purposely went out and stacked in this case like DeAndre Hopkins with Kyler Murray. What would be the difference in the value over the replacement wide receiver that I would have put in instead of DeAndre Hopkins? And over the course of a year, would that have made a benefit to my team, or would that have been a deterrent if I had known that it wasn't going to help me? Because you're right, you do take on more risk when you stack a quarterback and a wide receiver together. You bust at 2 spots, right? What do you think about the play where people try to play, like let's say that I'm playing against you. Who are your wide receiver? Who are your wide receiver ones in this league? I'm not going to scroll back up because I want to keep the draft board where it is.
Juju and Devontae.
Okay, so let's say that I have, because right now with this team, I could go ahead and draft Aaron Rodgers. Well, now he's gone, but I could have. So let's just say I went Kyler Murray, and I'm gonna go Aaron Rodgers because the value's on him there, 11th round, back of the 11th, hypothetically speaking.
Yep.
What do you think about the people who try to, if you and I were playing each other in this league, I see you have Devontae Adams, I'm going to play, if Kyler Murray has maybe a not so great matchup, but Aaron Rodgers has a plus matchup, what do you think about me playing Aaron Rodgers to try to mitigate the points that you pick up? Because every time Devontae Adams scores, Aaron Rodgers is going to score too. Do you like that strategy, or do you think it's trying to be too cute? Right. Mm-hmm. Different. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
have
100%.
Kyler Murray goes up for 35 points.
And I agree with that.
And the one
I also think it does
Devontae
matter if it's a 4-point or 6-point QB passing league. Like if I'm only getting 4 points for a passing touchdown, yet Devontae Adams getting 6, every time they score, I'm losing 2 points. Plus the yardage, which is obviously more for receivers, less for quarterbacks. So I think, if you go to your way to try to mitigate too much of your opponent's upside, you could end up hurting yourself, especially if you abandon a plus matchup for a better player. So I've never been a fan of that, but it is a question that we get asked fairly frequently in season. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Reaching for, I don't like it as much as getting the value. Like, I can't get Jared already have a Cooper early. This is, and then you're like, I don't have. If say this Wild Stallions took Clyde at the 106, and he thinks he has to take Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
That's what I don't like. That's what I'm not a big fan of.
You feel forced into finding the stack as opposed to just letting it kind of naturally happen.
It doesn't occur to me until the 7th, 8th, 9th round, and then I start looking at my team and be like, all right, do I have any opportunities to stack at this point? And if I don't, then I'm just not going to worry about it.
And that's kind of why I want to dig through the stats a little bit more and try to find if there is a correlation between, is there a huge advantage to stacking players together and targeting in that way, or if it's just something that is mildly beneficial. I'd really like to know. Mm-hmm.
If it is bad, and you have New Orleans versus Kansas City and a dome, and you're just like, listen, this might look really bad, but I'm gonna get Drew Brees, Traquan Smith, and Tyreek Hill,
mm-hmm.
and Travis Kelce, my flex. And then a couple kickers from that team. Just get as many of those teams as you can, and they score 120 points. And you're like, because they both have to keep throwing and passing the foot. And that's where you can win these big tournaments and win a lot of money. And if it don't,
100%. Funny thing, people are going to say, Mac, why would you take Mike Gesicki over Jared Cook? Jared Cook was the tight end 7 last year. He plays with Drew Brees in the New Orleans Saints, one of the best offenses in the league. Why would you take Mike Gesicki over Jared Cook? Here's my response. Mike Gesicki now plays in an offense where it's either going to be Ryan Fitzpatrick, who will throw the ball wildly and downfield and will take his shots. The other thing is that Allen Hurns opted out. So did Albert Wilson, and Preston Williams is unlikely to start the season. So either someone else steps up or Mike Gesicki gets more work. And I think that in the way that he's been trending and how athletic he is, he can make a difference on the field as a pass catcher. And I think that Mike Gesicki and Devontae Parker are going to get a boosted workload for the first 5 to 6 games of the year. That's why I like Mike Gesicki. The reason why I don't like Jared Cook is that he's very touchdown dependent. 9 touchdowns on 43 receptions last year was 18%. Sorry, no, 20%. Almost 21% touchdown percentage. Right, so that's an anomaly. I mean, if players are anywhere between 7 to 10%, they had a fantastic season. Jared Cook was almost 21% last year, which is crazy, and it's not going to happen again. And so just the touchdown dependency doesn't make me like Jared Cook. And I think Landon's on the same side there. Right. all the boxes.
Absolutely. When I don't really care that much, I'm looking for a have a path.
And not to say that he's a bad pick in the 12th round. I'm pivoting off him because of I don't want to bet on the touchdowns because, like we know, it's the hardest thing to project in fantasy football. I will give a shout out to Brad, though, Chelly Darton, who you'd see in the 104 spot. He actually, for preparation of our listener league, went through and statted out the top 18 tight ends of last year, looked through all their game logs, put them into that tiered PPR scoring, and what he found was the more athletic tight ends who are able to contribute yards after catch and find separation on the field tended to do better than the tight ends who were targeted more in the red zone. So he found through his research that the athletic tight end was the better play in a tiered PPR format.
Put that behind a paywall, my friend, and you will get some subscribers. at least 12 of them.
He's doing this just to help us out. It's good data. I'll have to share it with you, Lando. I'm just kind of hogging it for myself at the moment.
I don't mind. I like athletic tight ends.
Right over to you.
This is just encouraging me. This is just pumping my tires on why I like athletic tight ends. But for you, I would say, even though you've got a great athletic tight end, it might get second.
I beat you to. I had the 2-finger up. I need to take a second. And it's probably going to be here TJ Hawkinson or Austin Hooper, Jonnu Smith. I'm happy with any one of those. Yeah.
Hawkinson fan, but I could see the path for
Stack. Yee. No, I'm going to go TJ because if the season had played out with Matt Stafford being behind center the whole year, TJ Hawkinson is seen in a much different light than he is now. So I attribute the absence of Matt Stafford to the limited upside of TJ Hawkinson because we saw what the ceiling is. We saw week 1 last year and everyone ran to the waiver wire, told their mother to go there too and get a share of him. And it only makes sense. But now I think he's a steal because of the absence of Stafford. So
yeah.
I've got a tricky pick here. I'd like to go maybe one more running back, even though wide receiver projects to be a little bit more plentiful at this portion of the draft, but I can always run out and grab one. Oh, I just saw someone I can't leave, though. I've got to. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're big on N'Keal Harry. I understand that. Golden Tate being still available in a PPR league.
Yeah, you're on that, eh?
I think I'm buying into it. He's not a guy that I took a Justin Jefferson and Henry Ruggs over him, so I'm not really super into it, but I know he's a good wide receiver. He's just he's a little bit disrespected being on that New York Giants team. Bob taking Sterling, I could see Sterling being that number 1 in that offense, but I also could see a world where he's just a really safe target for any
right.
my Justin Jefferson pick. And I get home as much as I can. It's not because I do not own Aaron Jones. And Mack owns Aaron Jones, and he's not looking to handcuff. So I'm looking at what happens. He's a handcuff on an offense that is projected to score fantasy points. He's a rookie with upside, pure upside, and that's all he is. And he's a drop candidate if he does.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have liked a. It's not a huge deal. I'm not too hard about it.
So I've got the full draft board up on the stream right now, Lando. Tell me maybe your favorite team of the draft. You can't pick mine. You can't pick yours.
Mm-hmm. Am I allowed? And I cannot pick Charlie Dart's
Correct.
team,
Yes,
right?
he is also off the table.
Yeah. I like where Taylor actually went on this league. He got 2 running backs early that he likes. Josh Jacobs, not Austin Eckler. As much as we want to kind of crap on Eckler, maybe a little bit because of the changing quarterback.
Sure. Right.
So he was stuck with a guy like Adrian Peterson there. So he's got 5 really good wide receivers that are all good in PPR formats. Amari Calvin really projects to get a ton of targets. He's got Cortland Sutton is the number 1 in that offense. I really wanted Cortland Sutton to fall to me. Brandon Cooks is a
Mm-hmm. I love everything you just said. Apparently,
monster.
The audio is not coming through too solid for you. So, yeah, maybe a good place to end the draft. I'll preface what you just said. I mean, you really like what Taylor did. I think we both project to like Brad's team. I'll kind of pivot with my last one. I like what J Hart 777 did. I like the start of Saquon, James Conner, Jonathan Taylor, even though I was going to go the JT route. But I think getting him as your 3rd running back certainly helps mitigate some risk, because you don't want to have a rookie need to produce for you week 1. And that's why I don't really love Clyde Edwards, as good as he projects to be. We don't know what the volume is going to be like right out of the gate. Travis Kelce, difference maker, and then Lockett, McLaurin, Parker is a solid trio as late as you got them. So I really like that start for him. And that'll pretty much do it. So listen, for those of you that stopped by, if you're new, once again, if you could throw the stream a thumbs up, if you could subscribe to the channel, that'd be amazing, or leave us a comment with who you thought team was the best. Feel free to pick anybody on the board. You can even go me or Lando. I mean, I'm pretty happy with this team, the way that it shook out. But yeah, we appreciate you guys being here. Watch out for tomorrow. We're going to try to stream again sometime in the evening, probably around 6 or 7 o'clock. And we'll see you guys then. Thanks so much for the support, and hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. We'll talk to you later.
Take care.